Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thanks for stopping by. Well, today I get to share with you a project for Gerda Steiner Designs, and we are using a stamp set that's been in the Gerda Steiner shop for a while. This one here is called Coffee Monsters, and I do have the coordinating dies, but instead of making a coffee kind of a monster themed card, I thought we'd make a Halloween themed card. So we're going to stamp 3 of the monsters in this set. I'm going to stamp them on some Nina 80-pound cardstock. There's 4 monsters. One of them is holding a coffee cup, so I didn't stamp him, although he was super cute. I'm just stamping the other 3 monsters. I'm going to ink them up with my Memento Tuxedo black ink. It's an alcohol marker or Copic marker friendly ink, and so is the paper, and that's what we're going to be using to color in my images today. Once they're stamped, I'm going to zoom in, play a little bit of music. I listed the colors for you, but when I'm done coloring, I will catch you back. Okay, coloring is all done, and I think they look so cute. Of course, I'm going to take my white gel pen and clean up all my little coloring mess ups, and then now we're going to die cut them out with the coordinating dies. We're just going to line them up and secure them with some purple tape. Nice thing about the Gerda Steiner shop dies, guys, is they're separated for you. There's no little pokey, harsh lines on there. You don't need your nippers or anything. That makes it great. And also they're stored on a magnetic sheet, so it comes with it. I thought that's fantastic. Okay, dies are ready to die cut. Now I'm taking some these are just regular rectangle dies. They're nesting rectangle dies. I'm going to take 4 of them. I'm going to layer them together, and I do got to have them flipped around. It's not going to do me any good with the cut side up. I'm going to place them on black cardstock and then making sure they're kind of evenly spaced. I'm going to tape them down and run them through my die cut machine. This is going to give me 3 small frames that the width of them are going to be all the same width. Easy peasy. Once that's die cut, we're going to go ahead and take the dies away from our little monsters, and I'm placing them on a piece of white cardstock, but that cardstock is my background panel, and I used my stitch rectangle die to cut out the panel that's 4 inches by 5 1/4. Okay, now we're going to take our 3 frames. We don't need the centerpiece. It's not a frame, it's just a solid piece. But I wanted to overlap them, kind of creating an abstract look, kind of, sort of. Once I'm happy with the way it looks, I'm going to take my glue and tack down my frames to each other. I'm just going to use a small dot of glue. And I'm working on my background panel because I wanted to show you guys what I'm doing. When I have my black craft mat, it was a little hard to see. So I'm being real careful because I didn't want to get glue on my background. I'm just going to lift that up and tack it down. Okay. And I think that's going to work out great. Something a little bit different. Now, I have tons and tons of colored sequins in my stash. I am going to eventually create a background for this because we're going to create a shaker card, kind of, sort of. It's not really going to shake. You could make it shake if you wanted to. I'm going to pack it really full, and I'm only going to use 1 layer of foam tape. So they're going to be pretty much stationary on my background. I like doing this. Just putting 1 layer. Sometimes it shakes just a little bit, sometimes it doesn't shake at all. Today's card, it didn't shake at all, it just stayed put. But I'm going to add a piece of acetate behind my frames. I just use glue to secure it, and then with my scissors I'm going to go ahead and trim around the outside edge. And then I'm going to line this up on my white cardstock, and using my pencil I'm going to trace around the outside edge. This way I can have a background all ready to go after I fill it with sequins. We'll just trim around our pencil marks, and I'm going on the inside of my pencil mark so it's a little bit smaller. Okay, now we're going to add foam tape all around each one of our frame pieces, and we'll just remove the release paper, and then we're going to bring in some sequins. Now, like I said, I have tons of sequins and probably every color you could imagine. So for my little purple monster, we're going to use purple. And I'm actually arranging my monsters on over my shaker background, so I know where to put what color. I'm going to use the purple. I'm just going to go with the larger window. So I just want to make sure I fill that up with purple, and then the lower frame I want to fill up with yellow, and then the green one, of course, we're going to use green. Okay, I'm going to mix a couple purples together, and then I did mix a couple greens together, and then my yellow was already pre-mixed, so it's ready to go. I just filled in my frames, and we're going to add our background. And boy, I kind of made a mess with that one. I don't know what I did. I must have, I don't know, it just flew out. I have it packed pretty full. Okay, we're going to press down really good, and you know what, guys, no matter how much I try to get this centered on the back of my shakers, I can never line it up perfectly. I would say 1 out of 20 times I get it perfect. So I'm just trimming off the excess so you can't see it. Okay, that's ready to go. Now I'm going to bring in my background panel, and we're going to go ahead and adhere this to our card base. Our card base today is going to be a standard A2 size card base. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches, and I'm using some black cardstock today. I wanted a black border. Since my frames were black, I thought it would look really nice. Just press that down really good, and I'm going to fiddle around with my placement. Sometimes before I commit to where I want it, I'll play around with the placement, and I think this is going to look better than what I had originally. Okay. Now, before I adhere these down, we're going to stamp our sentiment. Now, I'm not going to use a coffee sentiment in the Coffee Monster stamp set. I'm going to use the Happy Halloween that's in the Peekin Pumpkin Kitty stamp set. And I like it because it's in 2 parts. You have the Happy, and then you have the Halloween, and I can stack them on top of each other. Okay, to stamp them, I'm going to use an acrylic block and my VersaFine Onyx black ink. We'll just pick that up. ink up our sentiment. And then I got black ink on the corner of my block, and I didn't want it to transfer to my monsters, which a little bit did. I don't know how it did, because I thought I wiped it off pretty good. But I'm going to stamp my Happy Halloween. And then on that green monster, I got a little dot, but I think it's okay. It's passable. Okay. Now we're going to remove our monsters and our little shaker, our non-shaker background. And I'm going to use my tape runner to secure that to my card base. And then for my monsters, we're going to pop those up with some foam squares. Just tape this down. I think that would just make a neat card on its own. I just love the way that looks. Okay, we'll add our yellow monster. And then when I cleaned up my coloring mess ups, I didn't clean up the eyes, so that's what I was doing there. And then I'm going to brighten them up a little bit with my black Jelly Roll pen here. And then I'm going to bring in some Nuvo Jewel Drops. These are going to dry clear with a hint of color. I thought we'd use some Strawberry Coulis and go over. Well, I'm going to just fix that inside so I can write a message real fast. Sorry, I'm ahead of myself. Okay, here's my Strawberry Coulis. I'm going to go over my facial features with that, and then just for a little something on my yellow monster, I'm going to go over his mohawk. I don't know what you would call that. His little scales that are trailing down his back. I wanted them to be a little more dimensional, so I'm just adding some yellow jewel drops. But that's my card for today, guys. I think it turned out so cute. Perfect for Halloween. Not too scary, but some little different background. So I thank you so much for joining me. I wish you a fantastic day, and we will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.